Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me at all, Melissa?
I can hear you now. I couldn't hear anything before, though.
Well, I was on mute. I'm just
Oh.
Looks like I've got a video problem and trying to figure
Yeah.
that out. Let's see here. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Should be in the middle page.
Yes.
Okay. So why
Yeah,
is my
that looks.
video?
Yeah,
Go
that
ahead.
looks fine. Your video's all messed up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
For now. Let's see here. Let me try one more time and just see. Bear with me a second.
Yeah, sure.
How's that?
Oh, that's good.
It's acting up, but all right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we'll just go with it. Okay. So let everybody know this is Valentine's Day, 14 February 2023, 7:04. So getting a little bit of a late start. 19:04 for those on 24-hour time, Eastern time. And this is LDR 300 leadership course, week number 6, right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. That's hard to believe.
I know.
Almost up on it. Okay. So everybody is tracking along pretty good, believe it or not. And so you, Melissa, indicated that you cannot see the quiz.
No, I just
Pop up.
well, I went on again, and I that screenshot I sent you. That is all I see. It just goes up to week 4, and that's it for me.
All right.
And then I went into the actual like quiz in week 5, and it doesn't show me anything either. It just the review button, and that's it.
All right. Well, so what I do is I go up here into course settings and I go into what's called gradebook setup. And then I click into what is called a grader report.
Mm-hmm.
And well, before I do that, let me check one thing. Yeah, that's blanked out for some reason. Why would that be blanked out?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Um,
Yeah, because at first I thought we only had 4 quizzes because I'm like, but then when I went in and checked week 5, 6, 7, and 8, I'm like, well, there's supposed to be quizzes in each of those weeks, but it's not. It's just not showing on my grade on Moodle.
okay, well, this thing gets quirky,
I know.
and if you don't have everything checked right, it does that. So it's obviously a problem on my end. So let's go into quiz week 5.
Because I thought when I clicked on this, I would be able to see it down below, but I don't. The grade
No,
anyway.
it's something's been ticked off, and something's been ticked off. Now that's funny. Um, Not
Mm.
ticked off in the sense of mad, but for some reason things get checked or oh, all right. I muted myself. Am I back?
You're back.
All right. All right. So let's see what we got. Timing. 8 February 2023, 12. So that was good because it closed on time.
Mm.
Grades, good. Layout, good. Question behavior, good. Review options. Yeah, what was supposed to be there? Appearance, safe browser,
Mm-hmm.
restrictions on attempts, overall feedback, common module settings, strict access, non-activity. Oh, okay. Well, nothing there. So somewhere I'll give this couple more tries, and then we'll move on. Okay.
Okay.
You passed the quiz.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
You got a 95.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But we had no worries about that, I'm hoping.
No, I just
But
like
we're
to keep
doing right.
track of my
Yeah,
overall.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let me try one more thing here.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to call in for some help here because this
Okay.
makes no sense. So the bottom line is that in the gradebook setup, it's not highlighting out.
Right.
And the only reason for that makes no sense.
I know that's why just thought it was strange because I'm like, why it showed some and not the rest, but
It looks like you
Yeah, I'm just glad that it went through. And
Yeah. So looks like we missed question 17.
Hmm.
And that was blank are teams made up of members with minimum supervision and rotate jobs to produce a complete product or service. So we know that's not a functional team, special purpose teams. It sounds like a self-directed team, doesn't it?
Okay.
Your key phrase here would have been members who work with minimum supervision.
Okay.
Self-directed.
Self-directed.
Okay.
Right. Makes sense. I don't know why I picked the other one.
Well, because it was offered up, and sometimes it comes across that way. Again, these were not designed to trip anybody up, but again, great job. Okay, and you're doing a tremendous job. The so week 5, I think, was a lot of fun. I liked those questions. Let's take a look what you
Yes.
got here for tomorrow. All right, so we're going to go chapter 11 and 12. Oh, good. Okay, so we're getting into sensitivity and openness to cultures. You're going to be directed to the stages of personal diversity awareness.
Right.
To complete and determine where on that in those stages you are. Most people grade themselves tough and put themselves a little lower stage or than they probably have to be. And then, but again, the question here is recall leader you worked for, participated with, or served under. At what stage was this leader? In other words, you want to go in and kind of do your assessment. And there's no way I could check on you, but try to go in there because again, these are good exercises. You have now gone through many of them. I think you can see the value, utility, and worth of using some of these on subordinates or using them as a means of assessment. And then what we can do from there is better highlight what leadership they can work on. Work on their strengths and weaknesses, right?
Right.
It gives you an idea. If you've got somebody who's in a stage 1 of personal diversity awareness, there are certain things that they probably need or could use from you. And then once you've done that with the leader, and I want you to kind of balance that with what you read on the text, and that's what I meant as give kind of an insight. Hey, this person was a level 5, which meant I don't need to do much, and we would probably need to get them to teach us, that type of stuff. In other words, give me a little something of what you think. And then from there, do your own self-reflection and tell us what stage of diversity awareness you are. And that's what I mean by usually people grade themselves tough. Now, the seated class, this becomes a little more fun because what I do I bring everybody in and highlight what the class is as a whole, and we start really diving into these numbers. We don't get that opportunity here, but that's just kind of see where everybody's at. That's why it'll be interesting to see. And this is why I put it as a discussion question: is what everybody self-reports, and then you could take a look and see if what I said is valid. In other words, there's fellow classmates you have that you're pretty confident you could guess where they are on personal diversity awareness just based on, their responses to date and who they are. And you'll see, hopefully, you'll see them grading themselves tougher than what you think they are. If not, you'll and it just usually it's an interesting exercise. Okay, and then discussion 2, we get into power. Can't talk about power without quoting Lord Acton. Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, suggesting that a person's sense of morality lessens as his or her power increases. Would you agree with this? If you do, give me a couple reasons why. If you do not, give me a couple reasons. And then from there, this one takes a little bit of a turn. Considering this idea, then, is it ethical for leaders to try to increase their power? In other words, if you do agree that power tends to corrupt, and that a person's sense of morality does lessen as their power increases, then would it be ethical for a leader to try to increase their power? And then give me a couple reasons why you think it is or is not ethical. Okay, so this one is thought provoking. Again, there's no right or wrong, but we need to get into certain aspects of human dynamics, and what we find is, in a lot of measures, it gets back to a book I quoted you earlier, Collins' book on How the Mighty Fall, which shows a study he did on leaders after Bernie Madoff and Ken Lay and a few of the others, that showed how people tend to fall by the wayside the more successful they get. It starts with phase 1, hubris born of success, which I always love the turn of that phrase. And it basically becomes, hey, I'm successful, so I start believing my own press reports. I'm so successful, then my questions, my decisions can't be wrong. I'm infallible, and things start to go downhill from there. And there was a meme the other day I meant to put out, and I can't remember precisely how it went. It went something to the effect of, people tend to lose their way when they lose their why. In other words, we start going by the wayside when we forget why we're in power, why we are leading, why we're in the position we hold. Right. Instead of keeping the main thing, in other words, being the best frontline supervisor we could be, many tend to want to become God's gift to women, or they think, again, they're infallible, or that the rules don't apply to them, everybody else. And that Collins' turn of hubris born of success, I think, is just perfectly stated. Good. This is good stuff. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, I totally agree.
So you got some thinking to do here, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with, as I do with everybody. The interesting to see everybody's insights.
Right.
And then 11.3 and 12.3 are your summary reports. Two, again, that's going to be one on probably the stages of personal diversity awareness, if I've got that right. And then 12.3, I'd have to look it up, but I'm sure that's about something that has to do with power, right?
Right.
And then you got your quiz, and okay, so standard week.
Yep.
Piece of cake.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, again, just keep, it's kind of a freaky video, isn't it? I'm gonna have to, we'll just stop that. Looks like Max Headroom. Max Headroom was an old TV character.
Oh, God.
That used to do it because you used to get that type of errors video errors,
Uh,
latency errors on the old systems.
yep.
I was laughing with somebody the other day. They were showing a picture of an old TV and said, "Teach a millennial how to change the channel and
Oh gosh.
adjust for contrast, and then give me a call." And there's a rotary dial phone right next to it.
Oh gosh. That's
I said,
hilarious.
"That's pretty good. But don't show them, don't ask them how to adjust the rabbit ears to
Yeah.
get rid of the snow, and let's not even get after a horizontal hold." And so we all chuckled about that. I'm surprised you're chuckling because that's old school right there. Uh,
No, I remember. I remember the antennas. I remember being my father's remote.
yeah, yeah, but
And
fortunately, you probably only had the three channels.
I know, right?
You
Yeah,
had
I don't, there wasn't many. There was only
you
a
had the
few,
major
but
networks. That's right, and
yep,
UHF channel. That
yep.
and but it was all free. Just throw your antenna up, and that's what
Yep,
is
that's
funny when
true.
you tell people today. It's I can't believe the cost of cable. Well, then just put up an antenna. You get it for free, and they're like, "You can do that?" It's
They're
yeah,
like,
well,
what? I
yeah,
was like, it was our first house that we had bought back in, I think it was like 2005, 2006. It was an older house up in New York, and they still had the antenna on the roof of the
yeah,
house. We took it down, but but yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
yeah. You can almost sell it on eBay as retro
I know, right?
museum piece. Yeah. Anyway, so last week we got cut off like I feared.
Oh
I can't
yes.
remember what we were talking about. If I cut you off, I apologize.
No, no, yeah, I knew we had ran out of time. Um, I think we were just talking about at the end, we were just talking about the paper that was that's due
Yeah.
um on week 8, which you kind of went through, um, went over it. Um, Or you said something about you're going to be sending out something to us either week 6 or so, week 7.
Yeah. It'll be obviously, this Thursday when I put out the week
Okay.
7 assignment instructions. I'll send out the grading rubric
That's right. I couldn't think of it.
uh,
Yes, the grading rubric.
so that everybody could see that. You already know how many points it's worth. Um, you know what's required, and if I'm asking specific points on a paper, you want to try to cover those points, and that's why I suggest the use of paragraph headers. Helps you
Right,
organize your paper, ensure you don't miss this section, and it helps
right,
me, the reader, find it. There's times where it's a little difficult because um, the writer is trying to address all the points, but we're jumping around and we're out of sync. And that makes it a
right,
little difficult sometimes for the grader. So that's why I tend to try to read your works 3 times so that I don't miss something. But I'm certainly, I do no hubris here. Uh, so using paragraph headers helps a lot, APA style, and and I just really encourage take a hard look at your position statement. Um, that really nails it for your paper because it tells your reader what you're going to cover, what your position is. Uh,
right,
as I suggested, you might say, in order to be an effective leader, um, this course has taught me in 3 basic areas that I have to have strength, in communication, teamwork, and diversity, or whatever it is. And that gives me an idea now of what your what your paper's central theme is, and then you're adjusting off of that theme.
Right.
There are many ways of doing it. That's just one, but simple, straight, and direct to your reader helps them, particularly out in the business world or in any occupation, quite frankly. Certainly true as I learned in the military, is that your boss is very busy. He or she doesn't have the time to sift through the minutia. You're needing to render in your communication simple, direct, and with brevity. That said, you need to make sure that you understand your subject matter and are able to, uh, uh, you know, provide that additional detail if required. But generally speaking, in an information paper, you're doing background discussion, recommendation, and it's designed to give just as much information as feasible without going into excruciating detail so that your boss can capture the essence of what's going on, has the information upon which to base a decision, allow them the opportunity to ask the questions to complete their due diligence, and then derive their way forward. There's a
Right.
difference between an information paper and a decision paper. A decision paper is driving a decision. An information paper is just to do that, provide information for the boss to then say, hey, we're not going to spend more time on this, or okay, send me, let's do a decision paper. Because at that level, if the boss does decide he wants or she wants to go to a decision, then it's incumbent upon her or him to let you know what their guidance is. They have to scope the issue for you. Okay, these are these are the things that we will not do. These are the things we cannot do. It's what we call constraints and restraints. Um, it's the boss, providing guidance so that you can more properly scope the uh, not the appropriate, but the more relative decisions um, that he or she has to make.
Right.
All right, good stuff. Well, all right.
So, real quick question, which I know
Oh
probably
yeah,
sounds stupid, but I don't think I've ever done one before in any of the other classes anyway. The table of contents. What, so that's like an actual separate page.
yeah.
It's,
It doesn't count towards page count. Um,
right,
and I have to remind students of that. You're not getting off easy.
right. Yeah, the cover
um,
sheet, table of contents, and your
Cover sheet,
reference.
table of contents. That's right. And so if you go through the requirement of the paper and you
Mhm.
see those sections that I've distilled it into, each of the requirements, and
Yes,
you use paragraph headers in your paper, then it would necessarily inform you that your table of contents would be those sections, and on
right.
what page of your paper that arrives. There are APA style requirements,
Yeah, I'll have
so
to
you
look it
just
up.
just need to look it up.
Hmm.
Not that many, not that hard.
Okay.
It certainly includes the introduction and conclusion paragraphs. Um, and then since there's probably a reference or bibliography sheet, then you probably want to include that as well, right?
Yes.
So, but that's it. Yeah, not nothing. I don't think anything earth shattering there, but just basic.
Okay.
I will generally not grade the table of contents page. I will check to see if it's there. Um, there's times I'll find mistakes, like people forget to put page numbers on their table of contents. Well, then that kind of defeats the purpose of giving me a table of contents.
Right. Right.
I've seen gross misspelling, blatant errors where they've used a template and kept half the template instructions on their table.
Oh gosh.
So, there's ways of getting tripped up a little bit. Excuse
Okay.
me just a second. Hold on here a second.
Sure.
Okay. I'm back here. Yeah, so shouldn't be a major obstacle for you.
Okay.
Just want to crank out, but again, best way to do is match your table to uh, the write up in Moodle on what's required,
Okay.
and take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, if you got nothing else, I'm going to go make some cornbread for my girls. I wound up making some chili tonight for
Oh, sounds good.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, a little extra motivation
Ooh,
for them to come home and enjoy their Valentine's Day. So,
oh, yeah, that's nice. No, I think I'm good. I mean,
okay.
kind of covered everything. So,
Well, I think you're more than good. You know what you're doing. You just keep at it.
oh,
Okay. And always a pleasure to read your stuff. And I look forward to what you provide in the forum. Um, and then it'll be interesting to see where you head with your paper. Okay.
yeah, I know. All righty.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your Valentine's Day.
Thank you. You too.
Get spoiled, I hope.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Good.
All
Mighty
right.
fine.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Bye
All
now.
right. Bye-bye.